Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and once again it is time for my client Carter's vlog, and this vlog is coming up like a week late. He'll have another one pretty soon. Apologize about that. I was busy with my move. I forgot to do his vlog even though I had all the footage sent. So we started the week off with a closed grip bench press using the Buffalo bar, and he got a good 300 pounds. Notice he gets a little sticky at the lockout. Right, a little grindy, then he finally pushes through. Okay, now he's got strong triceps, so I don't want people to say, oh, that's a tricep weakness, because we need more pec. That's a standard sticking point for a closed grip, and because he had to move it further because it's the Buffalo bar, it's going to be even more difficult at the lockout. All right, I'm having him do a lot of dumbbell work. We want to really work on his chest right now, and I feel like, in my experience, a lot of times dumbbells can quickly bring up a lagging chest. Although I'm having him do flat and incline, I'm going to scale maybe the incline out because his shoulders are feeling a little bit iffy after this week. So there'll be some in the next vlog, and then we'll kind of trim them out. We'll put our focus on the flat dumbbell, which, I personally find flat dumbbell presses just hammer my pecs, hammer them hard. But, incline dumbbells and incline work also can do a lot for the chest, particularly if we want to work front delts a lot more concurrently. But I think in his case, we're doing plenty of delt work. Don't think it's that big of a deal, right? So I would rather just focus on the flat work, keep his chest growing, and save his shoulders. Because again, he actually told me I could mention, because he said in his own channel what he does for a living. And I always say that he gets beat up because of the amount of stuff he has to wear. And that's because he's in law enforcement. So he has to wear a pretty heavy loadout all the time, and he's on his feet a lot. So accordingly, this is one of the reasons he runs into, the hip issues and everything else. He's a middle-aged guy wearing a full tactical loadout all the time. So, now it makes sense, hopefully, for those who aren't understanding. But, he is obviously very, very fit. Right, very fit. So after that, we do lat pull downs, and we're continuing to do those with his thumb over because his elbows get aggravated with pull-ups. I'm looking forward to the day when that little bit of inflammation is healed up in his radial brachialis. We can do more pull-ups, and although I may have him work pull-ups in, with a false grip. Again, if we take that thumb out of the equation, the radial brachialis load gets reduced, and for people who are having inflammation in that area, it can go away. But, obviously we do shoulder work, so we do laterals, and then we do band press downs. And really all I do for his triceps anymore is band work. I'm more worried about his chest at this point for his benching. He has big old triceps, doesn't have a lot of trouble developing them, and we just use the bands to work on his elbow health and to build him up further. All right. He did a sumo pull with straps, and I think it was around 365. The sumo is problematic for him, but we still do some of it. We're running conjugate. Obviously, he's got a West Side shirt on, so he is all in on conjugate. Again, I believe it's the best way to train. And I put my money these days where my mouth is. I've rotated away from it, found nothing else is as good. Every time I've done it, I always come back to it. My clients who I keep on conjugate always make just continual successful gains year round. They make them faster, they get beat up less. Just the way that it is. All right, after the sumo pulls, he did safety bar good mornings, and I'm letting him use a wider stance because his hip seems to get bothered a bit by anything too narrow stance for long, which is interesting because oftentimes it's the opposite. But again, you've got to do this stuff based upon the needs of your lifter. So we tend to do a little bit more wide stance stuff for him because it just seems to work better for his previous hip inflammation. And look how deep he can get on wide stance stuff. So the same thing with the belt squats. He's like, these never ever hurt me. So if they don't hurt, we're going to use them. Now the good mornings are obviously in the reverse hypers represent his weak links. We can see them come out there very, very much because he's not always as weak on other supplemental stuff, right? And we've seen him pull 405. Again, his upper body is more advanced than his lower, but this is due to a number of overuse injuries, inflammation, and problems. which we have slowly and continually seen improvement in, because when he came to me, he couldn't even squat or deadlift at all. And that's why he's like, look, I need to hire you. Like, you've learned how to do this for older guys. You've got some pretty strong masters people. You're strong, relatively unhurt. I need your help. And that's what it comes down to. He realized that his lower body was just always beat up. And I think he was surprised how much less work I had him do. He's like, once you have me training, I'm doing less lower body volume than I did before, and I'm not hurt all the time, and strength has been slowly coming back up. We still work with a little bit of minor inflammations here and there. And he, of course, finished that day up with glute ham raises and reverse hypers. Should take the reverse hypers out. We'll just save them for the last workout of the week. All right, speed bench. We do 3 sets wide, medium, close. He is pausing on it now. And we do incline dumbbells, which I think here in following weeks, we're going to take these down to flat dumbbells on lower day. On dynamic effort day, I tend to have a lot of my lifters, not all of them, but a lot of my lifters, I tend to do more dumbbell and incline work, depending upon what they need on their dynamic effort day. Unless they need something different. I mean, I have a few who will do floor presses and things, but my general tendency is I just want to get the weights that force us to use lighter weight to get the best stimulus to fatigue on this day. Whereas I tend to use a little heavier stuff most of the time for max effort. Again, there are exceptions. There are people who will do dumbbell presses and incline on the max effort too, but I'm gonna tend to push more of a floor press or a barbell flat lift or decline lift or something on max effort day. Whereas in dynamic, we were getting all that flat work in, so sometimes I have that tendency to do that just to keep the variation in for better overall hypertrophy, keeping the overuse down. So after that, we do his lat pull downs. We do dumbbell front raises, right? Again, want to keep the lats, upper back strong, and we want these front delts to grow. We can never have big enough or strong enough front delts, even if we have other weaknesses. In his case, we're working pecs a little more, but we don't want those front delts to not be more developed as well. Because front delts are really what break you off the chest on a wider grip bench. That's what makes or breaks you right at the start. That and usually things like lats, right? That's what will really get you. If we start missing a little more in the mid-range, which is where he is missing now, or where he grinds, then we know that we need more pectoral. All right, dynamic effort lower day, last day of the week. Speed squats against bands. Conventional deadlifts for speed against bands. And again, this little setup there works really well for this. He's finding it very, very comfortable, easier on his hip, because we can't do chains and stuff. They really flare his hip up. But bands in that setup seem to work really well for him. They're pain-free, so we run with it. We use it a lot. All right, notice the weight's going up. He's slowly getting better at these good mornings, because we're going to have to push these. Good mornings are going to be a staple for him as far as building his lower body up, mainly because we're limited on weight on that reverse hyper. He's got the scout hyper. He has limited space. The guy has really made phenomenal use of the space that he has. He's got this so organized and stacked in that he really has a pretty impressive amount of stuff in such a small training space. Like, I think that's one of the things a lot of people have commented on. They're super impressed with how much gym he has per square foot and how he makes it work, right? I think everyone out there who watches these vlogs of his can appreciate that to some extent. He's just got it so well organized. Then of course we finish up the week with glute ham raises and reverse hypers, which, again, very, very common way for my lifters to finish lower days up. You guys know that. You guys already know. Again, it starts to get funny, sound like a broken record in the vlogs. And you guys would be surprised how many clients I've convinced to buy both. I have so many clients who have a glute ham raise and a reverse hyper in their house. I talk them into it. And I have a lot of them who have a big full-size reverse hyper because they have garage gyms. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.